Hello everyone, this is The Seeker of Grace. With Season 1 coming soon, I'm sure that there are many who would be keen to dive into the world of Diablo IV in preparation for this special event, including, perhaps, a decent number of Tarnished. I have spent a fair amount of time in Sanctuary. I find my adventures thus far very exciting. I have to admit, however, that I am, first and foremost, a Tarnished who hails from the lands between. Hence, it took me a while to grow accustomed to the ways of the people of Sanctuary. So, to all my Tarnished brethren who wish to dive into the world of Diablo IV, here are 5 adjustments you should make in order to adapt to this new world. To be clear, this guide is intended for experienced Elden Ring players who are new to Diablo IV and wish to try it out. Let us begin the guide proper. One key feature that Diablo IV has, which Elden Ring does not, is a difficulty slider. The concept of difficulty may sound trivial to us Tarnished, but this concept matters a lot in Diablo IV and can have a significant impact on your adventures in Sanctuary. It would thus be useful to learn how to change these difficulty settings to suit your needs. There are 5 options in total in this difficulty slider. In the beginning, however, you have access to only 3 of these options. You might feel tempted to challenge yourself with the hardest difficulty settings available to you, and, admittedly, I might have done just that. But you might find, just as I did, your progress through your adventures being slower than expected. Specifically, you are not obtaining experience, gold, or equipment as quickly as you want to. I have found that leveling up, as they say, is more efficient on World Tier 1. But, as a Tarnished, I also want to take every opportunity during my adventures to challenge myself. Personally, I like to adjust this difficulty slider as follows. World Tier 1, when I am in the open world or revisiting a dungeon to strengthen myself. World Tier 2, to experience the main story. And World Tiers 3 and 4 for everything else to challenge myself. Hopefully, this method works for you as well. If not, try experimenting with this difficulty slider and see what you are most comfortable with. Also, as a word of caution, do not enable hardcore mode. We Tarnished thrive on overcoming challenges after multiple failures, while hardcore mode leaves you no room for failure. So, unless you are attempting a no-death challenge run, do not try hardcore mode. You might already be familiar with the concept of choosing your class, but beyond that class selection is where things begin to differ. In Elden Ring, choosing your class is a trivial matter, since we, the Tarnished, can easily change our builds by allocating or reallocating stat points. Not so in Diablo IV. There are, at present, 5 classes to choose from, each with its own set of skills and builds. You can unlearn and relearn skills in your skill tree, or even change your stats through the Paragon boards, but you will be restricted to the skills and boards specific to your class. Hence, be very mindful of your class choice in Diablo IV, for you will be employing the same fighting style throughout your journey. If your desire is to replicate the Elden Ring experience, then I would personally recommend choosing the Rogue class. For this class comes with several skills that have traversal properties, and the privilege of getting yourself beaten up if you make a mistake. You can create multiple versions of yourself with different classes, to which I say, I respect your determination. You might be the type of Tarnished who loves to dodge and counter enemy attacks in Elden Ring, and you might be thinking of putting those skills to the test in Diablo IV. If those are your thoughts, I regret to inform you that such skills are not completely translatable to this new world. We all may have a universal dodge action, but it has a cooldown timer, which means that you cannot dodge attacks back to back. You can move out of range of the enemy's attack when you see them swinging, but if you intend to fight an enemy, especially at close range, then be prepared to take some damage. There are alternatives presented to us in the form of skills with evasive or damage mitigating properties, but those often have cooldown timers as well, which makes resource management more important than reflexes in Diablo IV. To summarize my point, do not reflexively try to avoid every attack that is thrown at you, but rather avoid only attacks which you know will deal significant damage to you. I'm sure that all of us Tarnished can appreciate the value of powerful equipment. Many of us then proceed to strengthen a single weapon or develop a single build. That plan will not work in Diablo IV. This is because the power of the equipment you obtain is scaled to the level at which you found it. So, as you encounter stronger enemies, your current equipment will become less effective and you will have to replace it with new ones. In other words, do not use legendary equipment obtained at, say, level 10 to fight against enemies at level 30. You have the option of extracting desirable equipment aspects, but I would not worry about that early in my adventures, and simply focus on keeping my equipment up to date. And on that subject, do not even think about accessing high-level areas when you are severely under-leveled. Surviving under such conditions will be a struggle, and saying that the risk is not worth the reward will be a bit of an understatement. We Tarnished are most comfortable when adventuring alone. Yes, you can summon other Tarnished in the lands between to engage in jolly cooperation, but if we are honest with ourselves, we Tarnished spend most of our time alone, and we absolutely love it that way. However, in Diablo IV, you will inevitably meet other adventurers in towns or out in the field. You can choose to consciously ignore them, but you cannot avoid such encounters. I have had other adventurers approach me to help me fight and kill enemies on several occasions. I initially had mixed feelings about it, but over time, I grew to accept that it is good to have these fellow adventurers around, and it does not hurt to interact with them. You need not necessarily join a party or a clan, but you could consider pointing a lost adventurer in the right direction, reviving a fallen adventurer in the field, or offering encouragement to a crestfallen adventurer who might need some motivation. Small gestures though they may be helpful in forming good relationships and creating healthy communities. And for all you know, you might just need the help of your fellow adventurers someday. And these are the 5 pieces of advice I have for my fellow Tarnished who wish to dive into the world of Diablo IV. If you find yourself interested in this world and wish to immerse yourself further in it, there are many guides created by the seasoned adventurers of Sanctuary, which I'm sure you'll find useful. But hopefully, these 5 tips will serve as a starting point for us Tarnished to adapt to the culture of this new world. Before I go, however, I have one bonus tip that will be applicable to any aspiring adventurer. I have given you 5 tips on how to adapt to the world of Diablo IV, which would hopefully make your journey more enjoyable. But all this will not matter if you are not already having fun. Your experience in Sanctuary is yours alone, and it is for you to decide how it unfolds. I spent, using your units of measurement, about 5 hours to complete the prologue. I did many things, such as exploring every accessible area and exhausting every dialogue. I almost literally left no stone unturned. And for me, that was probably the most enjoyable part of my journey through Sanctuary thus far, where every little thing felt exciting, and I could experience it with no distractions or disturbances. You may find this behavior rather uncharacteristic of a Tarnished. Well, that is exactly my point here. Do not let others dictate your experience in Sanctuary, but make it entirely your own. You may even choose to ignore the 5 tips I have given you, if doing so makes your adventures that much more enjoyable. And if you found this video helpful, then please click on the like and subscribe buttons. Thank you for watching.